Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Over the past few years, we've been going to the Good Food Show, BBC Good Food Show, trying all these different food elements, let's say, different pastas, different sauces, things like that, and realising that we really enjoy Great Taste food for the obvious reason that it's called Great Taste, so it must be brilliant. We have been slowly but surely moving things over to Great Taste for certain items, but we do just try them, especially at Good Food Show, against nothing to do with that product. We're not trying a usual store-bought item that we'll get against a Great Taste award. So in this video, we're going to attempt to see what the difference is and see if it is worth the difference. Beth is going to be blindfolded. She's going to try different things that are... one is a Great Taste Award winner, one is not. See which one is the Great Taste Award. She's going to guess which one the Great Taste Award is. Then she's going to tell me which one is her favourite. And then I'm going to discuss the price difference to see if it is worth the price difference between the two products. So, are you prepared?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're doing?
I do know what we're doing. However, I feel like it could be very difficult to differentiate between which one I like better and is that the Great Taste.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm also going to... There's a lot of these things that I have not tried either, so you'll see me tasting them as well to see what I think, and we'll have discussions about this. You blindfold up. You've got your water there to neutralise and refresh your palate every single time. And I'm going to get the first product, let's say.
Spittle. Sorry, try not to rip my hair out. Okay. Oh wow. This is a bit unnerving, you know.
Are you ready? I'll be passing you things, you don't have to reach for anything.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to take you, the first one's in a mug. You'll probably be able to guess what it is based on that. The camera can see it. We're testing this camera angle out. It might move for future episodes. So I'm going to give you this one to start with. There's the mug. And feel free to taste it. It shouldn't be too hot or anything. You should be okay. Oh, she's going for the smell test as well. There's not a lot in the mug, I will tell you that, so it will be a bit of a neck back.
Oh, that's quite nice.
Okay. Try to drink all of it in one go. You have got a second one. Thank you.
Oh, this one's hot. Yes, I am a wimp when it comes to hot drinks. I don't really drink them.
Just getting it all over the blindfold.
Oh.
We also have a makeshift blindfold, you may have noticed.
Oh, this one seems really hot.
Oh, on the first one, this is really interesting already.
There's not a massive difference.
Okay. You may de-blindfold to make it easier for choosing.
Oh, I've just got that all over my nose.
Yeah, I did try and get it off it, but I didn't do it the second time, that was my fault. You were drinking hot chocolate,
Yeah.
You are aware of that. Noops,
One is Noops, I was
being
going to say.
best favourite hot chocolate,
Yeah.
has a Great Taste Award from 2021.
One is Noops.
Which one is the Great Taste Award winner? I'll stagger it so cameras can so camera can see which one's which. Because obviously we saw which one you were trying first. So just full disclosure, we were discussing hot chocolates earlier, and we were discussing Hotel Chocolat, and we've got Cadbury, and we've got Noops. And Beth said to me she would definitely be able to tell you which one is Noops if she was blindfold taste tested because it is her favourite.
Yeah, I knew that one was Noops.
Yeah.
Can I try again before
You can't really tell visually which one's
No,
different,
no.
can you? So yeah, I'm happy for you to. There are certain things that are very clear visually, but this one's pretty.
The thing is, I feel like it's hard because I know that there's not much Noops left, so I don't feel like...
I have... This is the other thing as well. I have specifically measured both exactly the same amount of milk and a tablespoon of each. So it is a little bit weaker to what we'd usually have. but I wanted to make sure.
I feel like this one's Noops.
Okay. So which one do you think is the Great Taste Award winner? I want you to lock in.
This one.
This one is Noops. The Great Taste Award winner. This one is something that saved my arse today. This one is M&S. Chocolate flakes. I didn't know M&S did hot chocolate flakes until today. This is 43%, which is the Great Taste Award / the one that you like the most.
Oh, yeah.
This one was 45%.
Okay.
So they're very similar. This was the other thing I was finding. A lot of the chocolates were... The other one's not a Great Taste Award winner. It's 50, 55, 60,
Yeah,
30 or...
I don't like.
And this was closer to what we
it's
needed.
too dark.
Which one would you say is your favourite? You're going to say Noops, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'm going to say Noops.
Mhm.
I'd be interested to try this, like as a proper
hot chocolate with the proper
and stuff,
measurements. Yeah, that's fair.
Because I don't. From that, there's not a huge difference.
Do you know what? I'm going to mix it up already. I know we've literally just sat down to record this video. I'm going to mix it up already. This is, from memory, like I say, it's been a while, and I'm pretty sure, we took the price off the bottom. This, I believe, is $11.95 for the tub.
Yeah.
How much do you think the M&S one is? Do you think it's higher or lower? Let's make it
lower.
Lower.
Yeah.
Just a lot lower.
Yeah.
Okay. £11.95, £5.
Yeah, I was going to say, I reckon that's probably about the £5 mark.
I did make a note of it in my phone, so I'm just going to make sure that I am correct on that. Yeah, that was £5. Do you think then that this is worth the price difference?
It's hard. It is hard because I would pay that for Noops because it is so good.
Yeah. It's your favourite chocolate. It's something, this tub has lasted us over a year because we do not touch it very often. So this would be a good little supplement when you don't want to get another one of these. I don't want to use too much of that. We can use that as a supplement.
It is worth it. If you're into hot chocolate, it is worth it because it is a really good hot chocolate, good iced chocolate as well. Oh gosh, it's upsetting me. But at $11.95, it does have to be more of a treat.
Yeah, whereas for £5 you could get two of these.
Yeah.
And they're about the same weight, I believe. A lot of the other ones I have written the weight down for, I believe these were pretty similar in weights though.
So my answer still stands. It is worth paying. It is worth
It
paying.
deserves its Great Taste Award.
It deserves the Great Taste Award, and it is worth the money as a treat.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it's, it's worth more than...
That's fair.
It's worth way more than this one. This one is not bad.
I think this was a really tricky start, and I hadn't tried the M&S one. Like I say, we found it literally earlier on today before we did this video.
But that is a great dupe, as they may say, because it may be different when we do the proper measurements. But I think...
On a taste test like that?
Yeah, on a taste test like that, there isn't a huge difference.
Interesting.
Would you agree?
I think so too, to be fair.
Yeah.
Only knowing, I was like, yeah, you can tell the difference. But they're fairly similar. Right, we shall move on to number 2. Reapply your blindfold.
My wet blindfold.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do.
Even looking at it was difficult, to be fair.
I knew one was Noops though. I'm pleased I managed to get the right one. Right.
You ready? Okay, number 2. You can already smell it. This one is tikka masala. Spoiler alert, what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow. This is why I asked if you had any plans earlier.
Okay.
One is Sharwood's, and the other one is it's called Holy Cow. It's one we bought a couple of weeks ago that we liked the sound of, wanted to try. There are teaspoons. I'm aware Beth is not a huge fan of spice. This could be very interesting. There are teaspoons, and I'm going to pass you teaspoons they have the sauce on them, but they're not like a mound of sauce. So you can just lick the end if you want. First teaspoon is in front of you. There. That's the end. There you go.
Are they cold as well?
They're cold as well.
Oh.
I wanted to do it as like a complete base test of not while it's in situ.
It's really hard. Where am I going?
There's your mouth. This is so weird to do.
That's fine.
Okay.
That is nice.
Okay. Would you like to water in between just to be safe?
Yeah, maybe. Where is it?
Here. This is going to be so good for you to watch back on. Okay, so that's number one. Let me just... This is number two.
Oh. I'm not having mine.
Okay.
Oh, it's spicier.
Or is it?
I am aware people watching this will be like, tikka masala.
Both of them have the same heat level, which is another thing I try to make sure I look for. So, this one, annoyingly, you cannot take a blindfold off for. There is a complete visual difference. I'll try and, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera. A big flavour difference too.
A big flavour difference and a big textural difference. One's quite watery, one's quite thick.
Okay.
What else do I know?
So, you've got 1 and 2. Was the first one or the second one the Great Taste Award winner, do you think?
I think the first one was the Great Taste.
Okay. You may now take off your blindfold. The first one you had was this one, and the second one you had was this one. Would you change your mind looking at them?
No, I think that's probably the more expensive one, like the
Right.
Great Taste one.
Yeah. That is the Great Taste Award winner, yeah. So this one was your Sharwoods and this one was Great Taste.
Well, there you go. So my favourite actually that time was the Sharwoods.
We're still going to we'll have it in a curry and we'll see how it tastes. So do it with rice and chicken and proper
And
things like that.
get some yoghurt or something.
Yes, some yogurt or something.
That
did have a bit more of a kick.
It's not a bad flavour.
No, and again, in situ, when it's mixed in with the rice and the vegetables and the chicken,
I was a bit worried when
it
he
could
said,
be.
when he said, I'm going to hand you a teaspoon.
Could be
I
a
thought,
cooler one, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad flavour, but for me, because I am a bit of a wimp when it comes to spice, that one was too spicy. And also, I didn't like, again, I am a bit of a weird with textures.
Yeah.
Compared to that one, that one went in and it felt a bit like...
There's like bits in there, it's not a smooth paste.
Which, like you say, with a curry
bits,
and with other bits and sort of once it's been cooked out, that's probably fine, but cold, that was a bit...
It was a bit of a cruel one to do, but when we got this a couple of weeks ago, I saw the Great Taste Award thing and I'd already got this video in mind, so I was like, let's see if we can do this. When I bought the Sharwoods one, it did have an offer on for different supermarkets, as you've probably seen, that are doing all these different things. But I've gone with the normal price. This one was £2.50. Is this more or less? You were there when we bought this one.
I bought it, but I can't remember. I think it's slightly more.
Slightly more?
Yeah.
Okay. This one was £3.69.
Okay.
In comparison to £2.50 standard price. What do you think? Again, difficult to make a decision on this one specifically.
I think this one is difficult. I think it's also a difficult, not just because it's not in situ, like in a curry or whatever, because realistically, when are you just going to have a teaspoon of...
Also, I feel like I brought this to the table and I didn't show it. This is the brand that we bought.
When are you just going to have a teaspoon of curry sauce? But also, I feel like for me, it's hard to say whether it's worth it or not, because for somebody who really likes curry and is not such a wimp with spice, they probably would say this one.
I really liked it. I think they were both really nice. I could visually, but everything, this did taste, for me, I'm very excited to see what this is like in a curry.
Yeah, like I'm not scared
there's
to
nothing,
have that tomorrow.
This is nice. There's nothing wrong with the Sharwoods.
That's actually really quite nice, and I was surprised.
But I'm very intrigued by this because we've not tried this.
I mean, I should have known really that was the Great Taste one because it was spicier.
Yeah, which is weird. They're both the same mild heat level, both the same chili level. We've had this conversation before in the past, me and Beth, that like the chili levels are really interesting because not every company clearly follows the same.
No, which is a bit of a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
So I would say it's worth it.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's fair for me to say that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
In this
it's
situation.
Less than no, it's just over £1.19 more for this one.
Yeah, it's
they
not
are.
crazy.
I think this one is smaller. This one's $2.50. That one I think is $500. If I remember rightly, with the Charlotte's one.
So it's not a crazy price difference. It is a nice taste. Obviously, like I say, the only thing putting me off that one is the spice level for me, but that's personal preference. So I don't think it'd be fair to say.
Again, the recipe does say that we include tomatoes. That would water it down a bit, so that would cool it down a bit, probably stuff like that.
So yeah,
I feel like this is like an almost full built-in, whereas this one just to add more stuff to make it. You can change the temperature a little bit.
So no, I would say it's worth it. I think it would be unfair to say.
Interesting. Let's move on to a more plain number 3. So for this next one, it's a fairly new one for both of us. It's a new company that we hadn't tried before, a new brand that we hadn't tried before, called Two Farmers, that sell crisps. This time we're doing crisps. We tried wild mushroom and garlic. Mushroom and wild garlic. That's what it was, and it was an insane taste that I can't explain, and we really enjoyed it. Then I realised they do salted, and that also has a great taste award. So now we're going to try and see if you can make a salted crisp taste better than any other brand when they all have different price ranges.
I would just like to note as well, wildly to us,
this is
the garlic one, the one that we tried before, didn't have a great taste award.
It didn't.
A lot of the flavours of this crisp, like that brand, did have. That was one of the few that didn't. So whether it's a new flavour and it hasn't been.
Also, I have noticed when I've been doing this, it's been a nightmare to try and find. Some things do have a great taste award, but I find it in shops where it doesn't have a great taste award. I'm assuming it's different, like circulations and rotations and stuff. Who knows? I'm going to grab your hand. I'm going to pass you a crisp. This is crisp number 1. I really hope there's no one that doesn't like the sound of people eating watching this.
Well, they shouldn't be clicking on it then. It's obvious from the title.
True.
Why did it take crisps take so long to eat? Okay, I feel like I need some water in between.
That's fine.
It's really weird.
That's fairly similar to the script I gave you, size-wise and stuff. And that's crisp number 2. I had to try and find a brand that would do a similar crisp, so it was a proper struggle because I didn't want to go with Walkers or anything like that because it was more clear that it wouldn't be the same type of crisp.
Okay.
So which one do you think was the great taste? Do you want another try of either of them, or
think
first one or second one?
the second one was great taste.
Okay. You may remove your blindfold.
This one.
Those are the crisps next to each other.
Does not have
I noticed, like, to be fair, I didn't know what I expected, but the crisps look basically like they're from the same packet.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all.
No.
At all.
Are you securing in that the second one you had was great taste?
Yeah, I don't really know on this one.
It was. The second one was a great taste award winner.
Okay.
The second one was the Two Farmers.
Mm-hmm.
We went with Tyrrell's as the other one, another quite high premium brand crisp that we could try and compare it to. Which one would you say is your favourite?
I don't actually think I think I liked them both the same, to be perfectly honest.
It's just really difficult because it is just a salted crisp. They do other flavours, Two Farmers do other flavours that you wouldn't see from other brands, like mushroom and wild garlic.
Boar something? Boar?
Yeah. Boar shot or something like that. Bull shot.
Bull shot, yeah.
Bull shot. Yeah, and hot cheese and onion or something like that. Yeah, they do different flavours you wouldn't hear from usually, so it's an interesting one to compare it to. Which one do you think is more expensive?
Two Farmers.
A lot more?
No,
Slightly?
slightly. I think it's not. I don't think there's a lot in these.
Again, when I bought them, it was from a supermarket that did deals. but I'm going with the original price of Tyrrell's. Tyrrell's, more widely found around in shops as well. This was we had to specifically go to a shop to find this in a garden centre. Tyrrell's, £2.75. Two farmers,
£2.99. Yeah.
Is it worth the less than 50p difference?
For this flavour,
Yeah.
I'd say no.
Fair. Fair. I
can only judge it on this flavour.
honestly,
and there's not much of a difference between those two.
There isn't a lot, no.
It wouldn't really matter if you want to save yourself the 20p or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
The difference I find with stuff like the Great Taste Awards, especially in this situation, this is definitely a more independent seller. You're supporting almost like a local business that has gone into retail places.
Yeah.
It's two farmers that work on a farm that make their own crisps, whereas this is like a big brand that's run by a big brand company. So I think that's your only real difference. And for the extra 20p, if you're more inclined to support more local suppliers and stuff like that, I feel like it is worth the 20p up. Because you feel like you're doing something more towards like a community-based group.
Yeah, like from that point of view, then yes. But taste-wise, there's not a big taste difference.
And this is just this flavour, and this is a really difficult situation. You're not going to see this everywhere.
No.
Two Farmers isn't in all the shops. We saw it in London in Fortnum and Mason. And we tried to find them when we came home because we were like, Fortnum and Mason prices.
Because the
little
one
bag,
was just a little bag, and that was £2.50.
Yeah.
And we paid £2.99 for the big bag.
And there were $1.29, I think, for the small bags in the same shop we were in. For the smaller bags, so
I would be inclined to do that one again.
Yeah.
With cheese and onion because I feel like
that's
going to be a more different flavour profile. They're both good crisps.
They're
and
really
absolutely,
good crisps.
if you get a chance to try Two Farmers, if you do happen to see them anywhere, absolutely. I'm not saying don't try them. It's not worth it. It is, but for this specific flavour, there isn't a massive difference.
No.
They're both good crisps.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. I would be. My mindset on this is. If I was in a shop and I saw this was available, I'd get this over a standard bag of crisps. But we haven't tried all the other flavours, so we'll see what the other flavours are like. Was that number 3?
Yes.
Let's move on to number 4. So for number 4, I'm going to give you a teaspoon backwards. So, because you're not going to want a full teaspoon of these things. Ignore the police in the background. We're not breaking the rules. Wait for him to disappear. Because I feel like I was really loud in the background. That'll do. So for number 4, I'm going to give you a teaspoon backwards. If you want to dip in with that end, you can dip it with the other end, to be fair, if you'd like to. I just feel like that you'll probably want to dip it in that way for this one. I could be wrong. So here's your teaspoon. And I'm going to hand you the little cup for you to taste from. And we'll go for this one first.
In there.
Yeah. There's not a lot in the bottom of this, but...
Is this an on
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be so gross.
I disagree.
I know what that is.
And then that's number 2. I nearly just instantly told you what this one was, but... Beth is very aware of what this one is, and you can obviously see it, but... I'm going to let you pick. Which one was...
Which way around are you doing?
The first one. That's the first one.
That is...
that's the Great Taste Award. Okay. And do you know which one it is, out of interest?
Stokes. That is Stokes.
That is Stokes, yeah.
Wow, you've wasted that much of my Stokes.
That was like the tiniest bit I could get out as well. And this one is Hellmann's. I went with Hellmann's in the end, but I haven't judged it. I'm just preferring Hellmann's over anything else. I went with Hellmann's just because I felt like that was the better brand of the two to go with. Which one do you prefer?
Stokes.
This one's going to be a very quick conversation, but it's also going to be a very interesting conversation, I think. So this one's great taste, we know that. This one's your favourite. Guess which one's more expensive?
Stokes.
The Stokes. Stokes is £3.25 for 345 grams. Okay.
That's not what this bottle was. Is
No.
that a bigger bottle?
This is a bigger bottle.
Okay.
But this is a treat thing that we will touch once in a blue moon, and this is my once. I'm probably not allowed to touch this again now. Hellmann's I went with, but I also price checked it with Heinz, the two main brands that I could see on the supermarket shelf that we went to. Heinz for 400 grams was $2.40, and Hellmann's for 430 grams was $2.50. So it's less than £1 difference between the two mayonnaises. What do you think?
100% in that.
It depends how much you use mayonnaise.
Yeah, it depends how much you
I'm going to
use
start
mayo.
making my own coleslaws. I'm not using this for coleslaw.
You're not allowed to use that for coleslaw.
No.
This is a really, really good mayo. I love this mayo. I went to somewhere and they had this in the sachets. I stole a load and brought them home because it's so nice. It's not cheap. It is not cheap by any means for a mayonnaise.
There isn't a lot, my opinion, there isn't a lot of difference taste-wise. This is, I find, a little bit sharper than this one.
See,
this is a smoother flavour. Maybe try it again now. I don't know if it's because maybe I had some left over on the thingy, on my finger.
This tastes a lot more vinegary.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Now, normally, we don't have this very often. This is the first time I've actually bought myself a whole bottle of it. Because it is really good mayo. This now, like side by side, I'm like, I don't like that.
Right, fair.
But normally I've not got a problem with it, so it's not.
And again, when you're just spoon feeding yourself mayo.
So that's when it's side by side.
Yeah.
There's a massive. I mean, I thought there was a big difference anyway.
Yeah.
But I
knew you'd know this straight away.
Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, because I tried that first, so I hadn't even had that, and I went, "Oh, that's."
I've been mixing it up, so you are having the great taste.
Straight away, without even trying the cheaper one.
Yeah.
I knew that was the better one, like the great taster one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
weird, because now I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Next to that, that tastes really.
But this is one we use all the time.
We use this all the time.
You've never had a problem with
and I don't have a problem with it. So.
For what is 75p difference, I feel like it's worth it if you're going to use it, not like a constant use. For me, I'd go with like a shop brand one, just for like constant use.
For this one, I would use this for like. We've got wild garlic. We sound really posh now. We've got wild garlic in the freezer.
Yeah.
And you do like a wild garlic mayo.
Yeah.
While I think this would be really nice in the wild garlic mayo, because we both love that. When we do it, we use fair amount.
We use fair amount.
Whereas I don't want to, and that's fine because it doesn't taste. Any different. If I was going to have it on a burger or something, I might treat myself and use the Stokes.
Yeah.
If I was doing tuna mayo, I'd use this one.
Yeah, fair.
So
in its situation, it's a situational thing.
I feel like this one is more if you're going to use it as like on a burger or on a ham sandwich or something.
Yeah.
As opposed to this one, you're going to use for like your mix-ins and when you use more mayo.
Fair. Should we try it on a great taste crisp and see how it goes?
No.
And then we will now move on to the fifth and final one of this video. Shit.
Do you not know which one's which?
I'm almost certain. I'm almost certain. I need to get the thing.
This sounds interesting.
And this is the final one of this video. I saved this one till last because I think this is the most difficult one, especially of this part. I think it'd be the most difficult one in general. I'm going to feed this one to you.
Okay.
I will tell you what it is in advance. I know on some of them I have and some of them I haven't. This one I'm going to tell you in advance. I'm going to give you cucumber.
Okay.
That has sea salt on it.
Okay.
One of which is a great taste, sea salt, and one of which is not a great taste, sea salt.
For people at home thinking, are you mad putting salt on cucumber? It's what they use for the testers at the food show, and actually it works really well.
It's really good because it's a neutral taste. I'm also going to do this one because I think this is really difficult. I basically, put it this way, I came to the table and couldn't remember which one was which, but I'm pretty certain I can tell you which one's which. Just on look.
I do feel like this is going to be hard. It just tastes like salt, obviously.
Are you ready for the second one?
That's what it is.
Are you eating the whole lot of cucumber?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I've got up a lot of cucumber.
You know me and cucumber. Also, it's neutralising the palate.
Oh, fair enough. And there's your second piece of cucumber.
Okay. Oh wow.
Again, that's the first time I've done that. I haven't. And honestly, the flavour difference.
Wow.
Considering it's just sea salt. Both are just sea salt flakes, there's nothing different about them.
But I don't know what that means. Although, okay, I think the second one is a great taste.
Oh, the second one's a great taste.
Because I think the flakes are flakier.
Okay.
I think the first one's more...
This is such a weird way to describe salt.
Yeah, I think even though it's not rock salt, I feel like the first one was more... It was still a flake.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was less of a flake than the...
Well, you can take your blindfold off. if you can. See if you can tell the difference looks-wise.
Yeah, that's Malden.
Right.
And that... Yeah, look, so that's more like shards.
So, you are completely right. This one's Blackthorn.
Yeah, it's not going to be
on
the camera, is it?
Yeah, it's not going to be. I was going to try and show on the camera. When I went, I almost hook, line and sinker fell for this. I felt like, there can't be that much of a difference. Tasting them like this, it's such a drastic difference.
So much saltier. That's like seawater.
So this, I haven't gone into detail about a lot of the other companies. This one I will. I'm not showing favouritism, I promise. It's from Scotland, and there's a part of Scotland where they use like the natural like kelp or something in that area that catches the thing for the salt for them. Oh, sorry, it's a thorn tower. They put a thorn tower in. Sea salt wind blows it into the thorn tower, and they get the salt crystals from it. And they're like bits of. They look like thorns. They look like literal blackthorns, which is where the name comes from, I'm assuming. To catch the salt, and I was like, yeah, this all sounds. And then I tasted it at the food show. A lot of these things as well from Great Taste we bought from the food show, so they were discounted and stuff. And I bought 3 boxes, I think. And Beth went, "What are you doing, you absolute madman?" And then she tried it and she went, "Oh, okay, no, fair enough."
Because, spoiler, Malden Sea Salt sponsor the Good Food Show, so you already get a free box each.
Yeah.
So we'd already got 2 boxes of Malden salt. We also bought some flavoured salt. And then this was towards the end of the day. He came back with 3 boxes of this. So
but honestly,
I did think, how much salt does one person need?
But honestly, tasting them, especially next to each other, the taste is insane, different-wise. Do you agree?
Yeah. This is a lot saltier. It sounds silly.
Stronger flavour.
It's
For sure.
The
And they're like actual
really.
crystals instead of like flake shards.
Like the difference is mad in the look.
Now we're going to discuss price on this one. This is very difficult because I 2 years ago bought these. I haven't bought any since because obviously, like I say, we've got all these other flavoured salts and stuff. There you go. That might show up.
That's a blackthorn one.
Yeah. And then obviously, like that's probably the best example I can give you.
Obviously, he didn't give me one that big.
No.
But that's more.
And they're all sort of like that. Like there are
smaller. Like they're like this.
Like big shards of like salt and stuff. Yeah. This was difficult because obviously I bought 3 packs. I can't even remember how much I paid for it 2 years ago. We have all these other salts as well, so this has lasted us a long, long time.
Did they ever go out of it?
Blackthorn sea salt, I really hope not.
No. As I say, I wouldn't have thought so.
Blackthorn I found in one shop. That one shop was M&S. This salt cost in the shop £4.90.
Same box.
Same box.
Okay.
£4.90 for 120 grams of sea salt.
Yeah.
This, more or less.
Less.
Of course. This one, and I thought this was really interesting, I really wanted to talk about this. This one in M&S was £2.70 for a box. I believe it was the smaller box before I carry on with that. In Tesco, for what I believe could be the bigger box, I haven't fully checked these things out, was £3.10.
Okay.
But if it's the same size box, this one's 40p more in a standard supermarket when everyone thinks M&S is more expensive, and I just thought that was an interesting thing to bring up. Do you think it is worth the price difference? Very difficult again in this situation.
Yes. Because you're not going to need as much of that.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot stronger
There are two things that I'm going to say that is going to make us sound even more pretentious than we already do about this. I would call this a cooking salt, and I'd call the blackthorn a finishing salt. Like, if we had... I'd do pasta water with this, but then I'd top like a jacket potato or something with this. Because it's a stronger flavour. And again, you're not going to need as much still, but...
Yeah, so I think it's good.
I do cook with both of them. I cook with either, but...
You're not going to use as much, so this is going to last you longer.
I was just going to say to you, this is our 3rd box. It's lasted us 2 years. I have been using more of the flavoured salts and stuff, so this one has just ended up at the back of the cupboard and I've not used it. But we used... I had to get more Maldon sea salt last year when I stopped using this because I started using the flavoured salts. Whereas this one we used...
So yeah, I would say it is worth it.
We've almost used like 120 grams. We've used almost a box a year. Whereas the Maldon one, I think we used 2 or 3 when I started using the Maldon one.
And it is crazy because I did think salt. Salt.
Yeah.
How is salt going to taste if it's just your bog standard salt? Obviously, flavoured salts taste different because they're flavoured. But I just thought, plain salt. How different can that really taste?
Yeah. And again, I hadn't done this, and I thought it was such a stark difference between them.
There is a huge difference between the two, and people will probably think, "Oh yeah, no, really, there is."
We at the start of this year bought a salt pig because we have so much salt, and I use salt all the time, and it was just easy to grab. And I think a conversation happened between us of mixing the 2 salts, and we didn't. And now I'm really glad I didn't do that. And I definitely won't be doing that because they are so different. And I feel like they have different uses, but that's me.
Yeah, so I would say absolutely, it's definitely worth it, especially if you use a lot of salt.
Yeah.
But this, again, this isn't bad, it's just very different.
This is a really good salt, and I was never one that understood why people bought Maldon sea salt.
So I'd be like, this is like a bog standard one, but a lot of people are like, Maldon's expensive, oh, gosh, look at you with your Maldon sea salt. But actually, it's a good...
Yeah.
But not bog standard, because I think it is slightly more premium. But
like I say, I feel like this is a good all-round salt, and this is...
Like, that's a good, middle of the road. And that would be your more premium one, but it is worth it. Then there's not a crazy price difference either. So
if I was going to do like a sea salt caramel, I think I'd use this because of the flavour.
Oh yeah. And again, you wouldn't need to use as much, but you still get the flavour.
Feels like a bit of a mundane one to end it on, a bit of a plain one to end it on, but I thought this was going to be a really interesting chat. and it turned out to be a really interesting chat. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this video. We might even do another one in the future, and then we'll see where it goes from there. We might change the camera angles and stuff, because there's a few other things I saw while I was prepping for this one. I was like, we could try and do this in the next one. So I have some more products to try if we do a second one. And if these go well and people want to see more of them, then we'll talk about doing a third one, because I haven't looked past that because I started getting a bit too crazy. Going, oh, what if we did this? So if you enjoyed this, please let us know and we'll do more of them. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you again in the next one.